what Wrath of the Lich King is missing.
Wrath of the Lich King changed a huge amount in WoW. It's gonna feel like a considerably bigger leap than Classic to TBC was.
It
And even
felt
back
bigger,
in
yeah.
2008, players were already voicing concern. The game is getting too casual, Blizzard doesn't know what they're doing. Nevertheless, it was hugely successful, and it certainly did add many quality of life features, many of which are still about to this day in World of Warcraft. But it did miss out quite a few things which came in later, in some cases many years later. So I thought, why not go over a few of the features which were not in Wrath of the Lich King, but would kind of make sense if they were in this version of the game. All of this is hypothetical, of course. Do I think...
You know what I loved so much about Wrath of the Lich King? Like, if you look at the zone Northrend, it was a quite huge zone, but I think actually sometimes I have the impression that Warlords of Draenor is actually a bigger zone, for example, right? But if you quest in Wrath of the Lich King, like, I feel like you stay more in each individual zone and you take such a long time to get through the zone in comparison to other expansions. And it was also memorable because you do get the flashbacks of Warcraft 3 because you think about Arthas and about his fate, right? So if you were like one of those people that played Warcraft 3 back in the day, you would feel so nostalgic going there, like seriously. Like, I remember my days when I used to play a lot of Warcraft 3 and go through the story and everything, and then being finally in Northrend and killing the Lich King together with Tyrion, and wow, this was so incredible.
think they'll add any of these? I very much doubt it. Part of Classic so far has been recreating things as they were, not adding things from later on, even if it makes sense to do so. Though judging by the amount of comments every day I read about TBC players wanting dual spec, people aren't quite so adverse to changes from future expansions as they used to be. As always, many thanks to the members of the Patreon who support the channel, it really does make all of the difference. More on that later if you did want to join. First up is a feature which I had a really hard time pinpointing exactly when it was put into the game. This is cooldowns resetting on instance, encounter, wipe or reset. So I think this may be the most diversive thing we're going to talk about today. It looks as though it was put in the game either during Cataclysm or at the start of MOP, which isn't exactly the most precise I could be, but people don't tend to upload footage of themselves wiping repeatedly on bosses from 10 years ago. What this would do is basically make sure your cooldowns are up after each failed boss attempt. This would affect 3 minute and longer cooldowns, exceptions for very long cooldowns such
but because that's like annoying. Like, imagine you fail on a boss and you just use like one of your skills that has literally a 3-minute cooldown, and then you have to wait for 2+ more minutes to encounter the boss again, and now your whole group must wait for you. Imagine that. Like, that's annoying.
such as Ankh or Lay on Hands. So what might be the problem with this? Well, in retail, you can, for example, heroism and spam all your cooldowns on trash, go to a boss, pull the boss, make sure everybody hits it once, that's very important, you have to hit the boss, and then run out of the boss arena. It would count as a wipe, so all your cooldowns and the heroism debuff will reset. However, in retail, boss arenas take some time to close. In Wrath of the Lich King, I went and tested, boss arenas close pretty much instantaneously, and there are plenty of encounters which just straight up don't have a way to reset them either, looking at Trial of the Crusader. So I don't think this would really change anything for guilds trying to speed clear or on-farm raids. Remember, in Wrath the Lich King, Heroism or Bloodlust now gives you a 10-minute debuff where you cannot benefit from it again, and it is raid-wide. And there's still a number of classes which have 5-minute cooldowns, like Death Knight's Empower Rune Weapon or Warrior's Recklessness, to name 2. Then again, there's no mass resurrection in Wrath like there was in Cataclysm. Wipe recovery and running back is an important part of raid time management, and you're going to be getting a lot more familiar with it as we get into the later stages of Wrath, so maybe this isn't all even a problem, and the game has a built-in time sink after failed attempts regardless. Being able to have the knowledge you're going in each and every attempt.
You know what's good about this? If you have to walk back to your body, if you wipe and you're not just immediately resurrected there and you can just start again, it actually feels like more punishing if you make a mistake, and you're gonna play like way more careful. Like, yeah, it's upsetting and frustrating for players, like, oh, I need to walk for so long, it's gonna take eternity and the timer and this and that, right? But you feel like more punished, and you're gonna be more careful next time.
With the same set of cooldowns is a nice feature
I think
which
it's
I
good.
did enjoy from later expansions. Anyways, that's the first thing I thought of. Next up, at the start of Shadowlands, Blizzard discontinued a paid service and made it a
We
free
love
choice
the
within
Wrath
the
of the
game.
Lich King
Yep,
zones.
really, they deleted a way for them to get money, and it
Wow.
would make complete sense if this change was also brought back in Wrath of the Lich King Classic. And this was a service affecting the Barbershop, which is of course a new feature in Wrath, which will allow you to change up how your character looks. However, in Wrath, it was very much only limited to that, and in Shadowlands you can now change, well, just a lot more than your basic appearance. Here's a message from...
I think the Barbershop, in my opinion, is one of the best features that came to the game. Because, like, imagine you make a character, and then you pick, like, this very weird-looking hairstyle, or your eyebrows are very bushy or something, and you don't like them, actually. But when you made your character, you maybe felt a certain way at this time, right? Or maybe you just rushed through character creation and you didn't even know if you're gonna play a lot of World of Warcraft. And then you got like attached to your character, you grinded it up to max, and then you were like, oh, I have now so much good items, so I have like the best in slot gear, I have like full tier sets and stuff. I don't want to level out just because of better looks, what should I do? And then suddenly Barbershop comes and you can like change your look and you can get rid of your bushy eyebrows, make them smaller. You can get now very cool hairstyle or something, right? I think it was really good that they added this because like MMOs are so grindy, a lot of them, and World of Warcraft especially like the vanilla days, like it took you so long to get good gear. You need to spam raids weekly and hope after a few months you have some good gear, right? So yeah, it just makes sense to add something like a Barbershop. Like, I'm glad we got it back in the day.
In Wrath, it was very much only limited to
I used the Barbershop before
you can
too,
now
so
change, well, just a lot more than your basic appearance. Here's a message from executive producer John Haidt on why this changed. A long time ago, we had the ability for players to go in. It was actually a paid service and change their character. Much of that is now in the Barbershop in the game. And as we were adding things up in Shadowlands, we realized, gosh, the only way you can change your gender in World of Warcraft is to go through a paid service, and we felt like that is not the right message. Now, I'm not expecting a full-on Barbershop overhaul to include all the customizations that retail WoW has, because it's...
But that's so weird if you change the gender on the Barbershop. Like, we can do this now and all that, right? But one thing I don't get, what's if you have like a very, let's say, male name, or you have a female name? Let's say you have like a night elf and her name is Elisandra or something, like Elisandra the night elf. And now you're Elisandra, and why would you change to a male? Hey, I'm Elisandra, the male night elf, or something like that. Like, it is so weird, right? Like, yeah, like that makes no sense because you don't have like a name change, right? So why do you change your gender? Or what if your character is literally called Paul, and then Paul becomes like it's a dude, like you're a male human paladin, your name is Paul, and then you change to a freaking female paladin by the name Paul. Like, what?
Considerably more in depth
so
than
weird.
what we're going to get in Wrath. But despite it being an old game that's re-releasing, I don't see why this change shouldn't make its way back. Whatever you think about it without starting to get opinions, it's literally just getting something for free with absolutely no downsides. I don't see why it wouldn't be in the game. Next, Wrath of the Lich King is where collections and completionism really started expanding for a lot of players, and to accommodate this, Blizzard added a number of things, those being achievements and new tabs to help organize your stuff. Under your character, there is now a pet tab where you will find your mounts as well.
By the way, guys, I have a question, maybe some of you know. So I've always been wondering about all the World of Warcraft expansions. Which one actually had the biggest amount of landscape that was added? Was it Warlords of Draenor, or does it just feel like that to me? Or was it actually really Wrath of the Lich King? Because I always felt like Northrend was not really that big by landscape. Like, yeah, there were like many big zones and stuff, and it does feel a bit when I explore. Like it takes longer to get from A to B than in TBC in the Outlands, for example, right? But I feel like actually Warlords of Draenor, for example, is much more landmass. But I could be mistaken. Like, I have probably to Google this later or something. And yeah, by the way, guys, if you're new to this channel, please don't forget, hit that subscribe button for more content.
Accommodate this, Blizzard added a number of things, those being achievements and new tabs to help organize your stuff. Under your character, there is now a pet tab where you will find your mounts
I
as
think
well
this,
as companion pets. Both of
think that
these
was so
items, when
cool.
used, are now learned and will be
Better
stored here,
interface and
and
all
they will
that.
no longer clog up your inventory or bank. Very cool. However, Blizzard kind of missed out on, well, about half of the things that people collect and wouldn't end up finishing the job here until patch 6.1 in Warlords of Draenor. This is when they added the toy box as well as the heirloom tab. The toy box is a new space where toys go once they are learned so they don't clog up your inventory or bags, just like
yeah,
Blizzard
this was
did
so
with
good.
mounts and pets. I don't know why they didn't do it earlier. It helps organize them, you
Same
get
with the
more use
mounts.
out of them on a regular basis, and I don't know about you, but changing up my character's animations and appearance is something I've always enjoyed doing. As for the heirloom tab, well, do you remember how heirlooms actually worked back in Wrath of the Lich King? I'll give you a rundown. So you go and buy them from the vendor, they're then bound to your account. In order to use them, you had to mail them to whichever character you wanted to have them.
So
go
annoying.
to the mailbox, get them, equip them, and then go out and level.
It's a waste
not
of
really
time.
that bad, sure, this isn't going to ruin your day, but if you're an ultimate
It's a waste of time,
enthusiast,
though.
which I certainly am, it can just be kind of annoying for no good reason.
Yeah.
Imagine if you take a break, come back, and you have to try and find out which character has your looms. Did you bank them? Are they in the mail somewhere? Or if you're leveling, say, a rogue and a hunter one day or the next, both of these characters want agility items, but only one can hold them at once. It's just all a bit messy and inconvenient. The heirloom tab from Warlords of Draenor was a big improvement. Here's how it works. You buy an heirloom and you learn it like you would with a mount or a companion pet. You open the tab, click the item you want, your character creates a copy that goes right into your bag, and you're done.
And you have
no
it,
mailing,
yeah.
no finding
That's
items,
how it is now.
and an easy way to see all of the heirlooms that you currently own as well. As for achievements, I think the system they had back then was fine. I am, however, kind of curious how they're going to implement it this second time around. So in 2008, there were a number of ways Blizzard could track what your character had.
I'm actually wondering, like, those features that are now shown and some that were not there back in the day in Wrath of the Lich King vanilla, like, I wonder if we do get some sort of retail-like features in Wrath of the Lich King Classic, or if it's really gonna be like the vanilla version. Like, I'm wondering about that. Like, what is their plan actually? Cause there were still some things missing back in the day that like made stuff so much easier and better and more comfortable, in my opinion. Let's see.
Or had not done.
I mean, it's 1 or 2 years till it comes
out. You have an
out.
exalted reputation. Here's your achievement for that. We have raid-related ones. You have Mark of the Champion in your bank. That's from Katie in Next 40. So you must have done Next 40. Here's your achievement. Do the more complicated ones, such as your character has the Champion of the Naru title. This means you did Magtheridon before achievements were nerfed. Therefore, you should
Before
get the
they were
heroic
nerfed.
dungeon achievements for all the content involved in the Trial of the Naru. And then you'll have ones where you're probably going to have to go back and do the old content. Will the game know that you've captured a flag in Warsun Gulch, or that you've won a duel? Maybe the modern client we're on has the capability to track all of this. And when the Wrath of the Lich King pre-patch hits, everything we have done can just be translated into achievements. It would be nice if it did, of course. It would be great to get a talk from Blizzard closer to the launch on how this system will work and whether they can do
Imagine you have
anything
to do
different
everything
from how
again
it
to
was
get
back
the
in
achievements.
2008.
Holy shit.
In fact, if you are a big fan of achievements and planning to go hard when Wrath comes around, I'd be a little unsure at this point on whether or not to actually start preparing, because we just simply don't know what Blizzard has been tracking in the background. Another feature I expect to be missing is one which we should already have actually, and something
Which
I just
one?
feel nobody really cares about anymore.
Huh?
That is the Armory. I feel like back in the day you would always look people up there, the big names from the top guilds, to admire the gear, the dedication, to see what the new full tier set looks like. I remember having to link up.
Oh yeah, and you can use this if you want to make like a new character and stuff, because you can see, oh, how would this look like? How would let's say Night Elf Warrior look like, for example, right? Or a Dwarf Paladin or something, and you will look what they have and how they like. You know what? This is my new alt. I will now also level, let's say, Night Elf Warrior, for example. Okay. Yeah, I wonder why. Like, this would be actually not game breaking as well. Like, for those that want the game to be as much as the vanilla version as possible, like this Armory right there, I don't think this will be any change for the gaming experience.
Armory when applying for a guild or a pug or whatever it may be. Nowadays, there are just so many more ways to get information or check people.
Yeah.
There are discords with sheets dedicated to simming different classes. Warcraft Logs has a summary of your past and current performances and raids. as well as showing your gearing, but this feature existed before Wrath did, and I don't think I've ever seen anybody even give it so much as a mention. It's just kind of been made obsolete by players with how people use and trade information now. I
Yeah.
thought I'd give it a mention. I don't expect Blizzard to put any time into redoing an old Armory, and frankly, I think it'd be a waste of time if they did. Overall, there isn't a huge amount of things I would change.
I mean, there
about
will
the
be
game,
definitely
and
costs
again, I don't
involved.
expect them to implement anything different, but it is fun to think about and speculate as to where the game could be made a little bit better. Time has proven that not trying to change anything is a bit too rigid and hasn't reflected well on the game as a whole, so it's better to have a bit more of an open mind and just focus on the things that could improve what we know will happen, rather than to imply any change will result in some kind of
Just looking at this right now, I can't wait for Wrath of the Lich King Classic, guys. Like, I will make a brand new character and start from scratch when it comes out. I even consider going for Death Knight, because Death Knight back in the day was super broken. It was really fun to play as well. Like, the old school Death Knight is nothing like the retail Death Knight. Like, if Wrath of the Lich King Death Knight is out in Classic, holy shit. Those good memories. Like, I remember, like, Blood Decay was really broken.
disastrous situation arising. In other words, what I'm trying to say is they're already going to sell a new boost package. You don't need a scapegoat to get angry at when it happens. Thoughts on any of these? Reckon they would fit in the game, or is anything just too far? And let me know if you have any others as well. As always, thank you all so much for watching and listening in, and I shall see you all in the next one very soon.
Alright, let me smash that like button here. And yeah, wow. Like, it's actually interesting, because like there were like some new features that were added back in the day with Wrath of the Lich King, and I'm wondering if they're gonna add the same features when Wrath of the Lich King Classic comes out. Are they gonna add a couple of retail features? What about like a group finder? Like, how will the group finder be, like the dungeon finder and stuff? Because wasn't it also when like the first time a dungeon finder was like implemented? This was Wrath of the Lich King. Was it one expansion after? Was it a Cataclysm? Because I remember they added like a Dungeon Finder. Because we didn't have this in TBC and stuff, right? Yeah, I think it was Wrath of the Lich King that they released it. But this with the toys, I'm glad that they actually added it like that. Because like back in the day you had to keep every single stuff in your freaking bags. And your bags would be full of toys and stuff. And you can't just remove. Same with like the heirlooms. You have to keep them in your inventory and then send it around. So if you destroy it, for example, because let's say you have heirlooms and you want to free space. If you destroy it, that means you have to buy them again, right? But they changed it, so now it became like a collection and you can just use it on any character. And if you destroy the item, it doesn't matter. And I think it's better that way. It's definitely way more comfortable. But yeah, I wonder like how much vanilla it will be, how much retail it will be. Because like if you look at like vanilla TBC and classic TBC, it definitely feels like a little different to me somehow. I don't know. Is it because I've played it like a long time ago, and if I get back to it, it's like a different feeling. Like, I even lost some memories, to be honest. Like, I remember, like, a lot of what was going on back in the day in vanilla. But even some features that I saw here, wait, what? It wasn't this? I thought it was a Cataclysm. Did it come out already in Wrath of the Lich King? But yeah, it did. But I'm really looking forward to Wrath of the Lich King. From my research that I did, it will probably come out either by late 2023 or early 2024. But let's see. Because there have been some discussions and leaks and stuff that some are saying, hey, maybe late 2023 is when Wrath of the Lich King will come out. We will see if this will be late next year or not, but let's see. It definitely makes sense to release a classic version of this, because Wrath of the Lich King is the most favorite expansion of the community. Like, I checked out a poll and I saw that this was actually the most liked expansion. A lot of people are already wishing for it on forums. Hey, when is Wrath of the Lich King Classic coming out? Please release it soon. We wanna play there. This was our favorite expansion and stuff. But yeah, how do you guys feel? What was your favorite World of Warcraft expansion? Let me know in the comment section which one you enjoyed the most. And if you guys are new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this one. And I wish everyone a wonderful day. I will see you guys next time.